I love Pokemon Black and White. I always felt like there should be more gameplay content of it. So one day I thought to myself, is there any significance to be found in a solo challenge for this generation? I thought about that a little more, and that's when the idea hit me. Ladies and gentlemen, today we will be seeing if you could beat Pokemon Black and White using Only A ZORUA. We will be playing the white version for this challenge. The rules are simple. I must play up to when trading is available, which is sometime after the first gym badge is collected. After that, I must retrieve the Zorua egg I prepared on another file, and I am not allowed to use any other Pokemon from there on out. I am also not allowed to use any items in battle, though held items are okay to utilize. Let's go over the story up to where we begin the challenge. This young lass is named Hilda, and she will be the Zorua's trusty trainer. Her two childhood friends are named Bianca and Charon. These three have been entrusted with the Pokédex, and were tasked by Professor Juniper to go on their own journeys to fill out as much of the Pokédex as possible. Hilda's goal is to become the champion. In Accumula Town, Hilda comes across a man named Ghetsis, giving a speech about Pokemon liberation, saying that trainers only make their Pokemon suffer. Here is where Hilda also meets a mysterious young man named N, and has a battle with him. Hilda goes on to Striaton City to obtain her first gym badge. Shortly after, she runs into a group of goons named Team Plasma, who work for Ghetsis and use forceful methods to free Pokemon from humans. After dealing with the two grunts she encountered, it was time for her to receive the Zorua egg and then hatch it. Fellas, meet Marlin. Marlin is shiny, has perfect IVs, and has a naughty nature, which boosts his attack but lowers his special defense. These are Zorua's base stats. It's about as fragile as you would expect a baby Pokemon to be, but the 80 special attack is very interesting. I opted to increase the attack with the nature I chose, because I knew it would come in clutch. Without further ado, let's begin the challenge. Since Marlin was only level 1, I sought to level it up as soon as possible, so I backtracked to Route 1 to defeat some Audino for some experience. When I was doing this battle, I was originally under the impression that I would use items in battle for the whole playthrough. After I defeated the first Audino, however, that's when I wondered if I could actually succeed without using items in battle. So sadly, I ended up using items in this particular wild encounter, but I never did it again after realizing my capabilities. That encounter got him up from level 1 to 8, and after that, I did the rest of my grinding in Route 2. Once he reached level 20, I decided to move on with the main story. After returning to Route 3, we had to battle twins Kumi and Amy, which unfortunately meant I needed another Pokemon by my side. I had kept the free Pansage you get in the Dream Yard in my PC, so I retrieved him for the occasion. This also meant that Marlin entered the battle disguised as Pansage. Regardless, I took Pansage out immediately so I wouldn't have to worry about him, and scratched my way to victory. I put Pansage away afterwards. After challenging some trainers around the daycare, battling Charon, and retrieving stolen Pokemon from the clutches of Team Plasma without breaking a sweat, I bolted through the rest of Route 3, picking up a hidden rare candy along the way. We've arrived in Nakreen, and the first thing I did was head straight to the outer area of Pinwheel Forest for some more training. Marlin has now reached level 27, and I scurried back to Nakreen City to challenge the gym. N meets us at the entrance for another battle before we can enter. I was initially worried about his timber, but it turned out that I had nothing to worry about, meaning that we can now challenge the Nakreen gym. After solving some riddles and battling some trainers, we faced Lenora. Her Herdier let us off easy, only being able to lower our defense once when we took her out in 2 feint attacks. Lenora sent out her Watchog, and that's when things became a problem. Hitting her with feint attack twice only left her on red HP, prompting her to heal. We got our defense lowered even more and got hit with a Retaliate in the meantime. Honestly, I was being a huge idiot here. I don't know why I kept hitting her with feint attack to leave her on red HP again when I could have just used Scratch to possibly prevent it. Regardless, she quickly proved why we couldn't mess with her when she landed a Hypnosis, sealing the deal and prompting me to reset. I decided to give Marlin a Chesto Berry that Charon had given to us earlier, and we went into the battle once again. After taking out Herdier again, I hit Watchog with a feint attack while receiving a Hypnosis, which the Chesto Berry woke us up from. I used Leer, and she attempted to use Hypnosis again, but missed, allowing us to finish the battle with another feint attack. The basic badge is ours! I walked out of the library only to find that Team Plasma had stolen the Dragon Skull from the museum. It was time to head to Pinwheel Forest to put a stop to their heinous plans. While going through the Team Plasma gauntlet, I stumbled upon TM86, Grass Knot. It's a special grass type move that does more damage the heavier your opponent is. It just so happened that Marlin was able to learn this move, so I taught it to him and replaced Scratch. Marlin would remember this move for the rest of the playthrough. I went through the rest of the Team Plasma grunts in the forest, returned the Dragon Skull to Lenora, and stuck around for some more training. After reaching level 31, I set off to Sky Arrow Bridge. After arriving in Castelia City, I tried to challenge the gym right away, but Burgh, Castelia City's gym leader, had informed me that Team Plasma is hiding somewhere in the city, and he asked me to help him. We learned that those crooks had stolen a Pokemon from Bianca. It didn't take us long to track them down, and the grunt and his 2 Sandile that tried to stop us didn't give us any trouble, especially with Grass Knot. After retrieving the stolen Pokemon, I set off to challenge Burgh's gym for real. Unfortunately for us, Dark types don't match well against Bug types, so I went in with my fingers crossed. The gym's trainers didn't give us much trouble, and after flipping some switches and walking through Honey, it was finally time to challenge Burgh. He started with Whirlipede. We took it down with 2 feint attacks, but not before he hit us with a Screech, harshly lowering our defense. Next was Dwebble, and he hit us with a Smackdown before we took him out with 2 Grass Knots. Then Leavanny came out, and needless to say, we didn't last long. He kept lowering our speed with String Shot, and at that point, his Razor Leaf did a lot of damage thanks to Dwebble's Screech. The battle was as good as lost. On round 2, we still got Screeched by Whirlipede, but Dwebble opted to lower our accuracy this time, instead of using Smackdown. Once we got to Leavanny again, I remembered that Marlin had new Foul Play, a move that does more damage the more attack your opponent has. I did a quick search on Bulbapedia, and apparently, Leavanny has a base attack stat of 103. Needless to say, I knew what I had to do. Leavanny was only able to hit us with 1 String Shot and Razor Leaf before I defeated him with 2 Foul Plays. The Insect Badge is ours. Oh, we got our next gym badge. Oh, let me see what the TM they give us. I did a few things before leaving Castelia City. I decided to do the Dancer side quest to get the Amulet Coin, which, when held by Marlin, would let us reap more money from winning battles. And then I challenged the entire battle company for some extra training. Then I went off to Route 4's gate to battle Bianca. The only Pokemon we didn't take out in one hit was her Herdier. We're growing strong! Charon also challenged us to a battle shortly after we entered Route 4. I forgot to heal. Whatever. We took out his Pidove in one hit, but his Duat went down in 2, and we took some considerate damage from our Razor Shell. We OHKO'd his Pansear, but took a hit from his Liepard's Pursuit after we got it to red HP with a Grass Knot. To my surprise, Charon didn't heal, and we took out his Liepard on the next turn. After poking around Route 4, I came across a house where a worker gave me TM28, Dig. I taught it to Marlin in place of Leer. This is another move that Marlin would know for the rest of the playthrough. I explored the desert resort a bit to battle trainers and look for hidden items with the dowsing machine, which Bianca gave to us after obtaining the second badge. Professor Juniper met us at the gate to Nimbasa City to give us some Ultra Balls. Those are gonna be useful, right? And then I was on my merry way. As soon as we entered Nimbasa City, we stumbled upon Team Plasma once again, harassing the daycare man. By now, we have proven that grunts can hardly do anything to us. We rescued the daycare man and took a trip to Route 16, where we trained Marlin some more until he reached level 38. Marlin learned agility in the process. I taught it to him in place of Torment. Once again, Marlin would keep this knowledge for the rest of the playthrough. After that, we bolted to the Nimbasa gym, no pun intended. N suddenly appeared before us before we could reach the gym, and proceeded to invite us to a nice Ferris wheel ride, where he revealed that he was the king of Team Plasma. Our next battle with him began shortly after. We took out his Sandile in one hit with Grass Knot, and then he sent out Scraggy. I really should have used Dig here, but I ended up using Feint Attack, despite him being quadruple resistant to Dark-type attacks. Don't ask me what my thought process was. Anyways, Scraggy hit us with Swagger on that turn, which increased our attack, but left us in confusion. Marlin hurt himself in confusion the next turn, and Scraggy hit us with a Brick Break. Despite this, Marlin survived. He snapped out of his confusion, and we took out his Scraggy and then his Darumaka with Dig, with more power to us from the attack boost from Swagger. His final Pokemon, Sigilyph, did not hesitate to go down from Marlin's feint attack. We had won. I healed at the Pokemon Center and finally set foot into Elesa's gym. This was definitely the hardest gym battle of the run, but it was still quite a challenge on its own to even get to Elesa. Let me tell you, it's not fun getting paralyzed and shocked by Amalga. Regardless, we fought through it, and I challenged Elesa to a battle. Elesa sent out Amalga. I started off with agility, since I knew Elesa's Pokemon were pretty damn fast. Amalga hit us with Volt Switch, returning to Elesa in place of her other fucking Amalga. I hit her with Feint Attack, which not only left her on red HP, but also triggered Static, which paralyzed Marlin. She critically hit me with Volt Switch, and the first Amalga came out to battle again. Now that Marlin was paralyzed, I lost the speed battle. The male Amalga hit me with Volt Switch again, and the already injured female Amalga came out only to fall to my Feint Attack. Sadly, I was on red HP at this point, and the male Amalga finished me off with Quick Attack. I began to develop a strategy. I would hit each Amalga with Grass Knot, and then finish them both off with Feint Attack. I could not afford to get paralyzed. I needed my speed. It took a lot of resetting, but I managed to take them both out without getting paralyzed. By the time Elesa sent out Zipstrika, exactly 50% of my HP was gone. On the dot. Zipstrika still outspeeded us and hit us with Spark, but we survived. The Thunderbolt Pokemon soon fell to Marlin's Dig, and the Bolt Badge was in our grasp. After healing at the Pokemon Center and spending some quality time with Bianca, I proceeded to Route 5 to battle Charon once again. His Liepard hit us with Torment at the beginning of the battle, and it stuck with us for the whole thing. The battle itself was generally smooth, but the Torment became an issue when facing Charon's Tranquil. Marlin had to keep alternating between Grass Knot and Feint Attack, and he kept getting hit by Air Cutter in the meantime. Nevertheless, we won the battle on 28 HP. After a quick double battle with Charon against some preschoolers, Clay, the gym leader of Driftvale City, lowered the Driftvale drawbridge and let us in on request of Elesa. I took off to Driftvale City's cold storage. Clay had told us that Team Plasma was hiding here, so I made my way through while fighting some workers. Once we cornered Team Plasma in their hiding, the Grunt's efforts once again proved to be futile. With that sorted out, I took off to the Driftvale gym. The gym's trainers had nothing on us, and we were at Clay soon before I knew it. His first two Pokemon, Krokorok and Palpitoad, went down in one hit to Grass Knot. Sadly for me, I forgot that Drillbur didn't have Steel typing when I was fighting him on the way to Clay, so I thought Grass Knot would be super effective against Excadrill as well. Grass Knot did just under half HP to Excadrill, and he retaliated with Bulldoze, lowering my speed and almost nearly getting rid of half of my HP. Unfortunately, Excadrill is now faster than me after that Bulldoze, and got my HP down to 27 with a Slash, while I retaliated with a Feint Attack to avoid getting him to red HP. As expected, he slashed me down the next turn. The next time I got to Excadrill, I used Dig, and it got him down to red HP. Clay healed, and I kept spamming Dig like an idiot until he took me down. On our final battle with Clay, I hit his Excadrill with a Grass Knot, while he took a turn to raise his attack with Hone Claws, and I finished him off with Dig the next turn. The Quake Badge is ours. I stopped by the Pokemon Center to heal, and took off to meet Bianca at Route 6, where she challenged us to a battle. We swept through her Herdier and Panpour unscathed. I hit her Servine with a Feint Attack that depleted nearly half of his HP, and in retaliation he set up Leech Seed, which healed him a bit. I hit him with another Feint Attack. It got him to red HP, which I thought would warrant Bianca to manually heal him. Thankfully, he healed from Leech Seed again instead, which allowed us to take him down the next turn. Bianca's Mushuruna did not go down in one hit like I thought she would, and I realized that Leech Seed was not letting up. Regardless, we finished the job with 39 HP remaining. At the end of Route 6, we find that the entrance to Chargestone Cave is blocked off by an electric web. Luckily, Clay shows up and tells his Krokorok to take it down, allowing us to enter. After a little chit-chat with N, we run into Professor Juniper, who gives us a lucky egg. Leveling up just became a whole lot easier. I equipped it and took some time to fall back to Route 6 for some Audino training, and went back into the cave after Marlin had leveled up 4 more times. We ran into the mysterious Shadow Triad, who warned us of another upcoming Team Plasma Gauntlet. Other than one grunt whose scraggy almost got me killed with swagger, we swept through them all with ease. I also took a pit stop at the lower floor to find hidden items and battle some trainers. Soon enough, it was time for our next battle with N. His Bulldor and Joltik were put in their place, but Marlin nearly lost to his Ferocity. It took me 5 turns to take him down, since he was using Iron Defense, and my move choices were influenced by the worry of N manually healing. Thanks to his Iron Barb's ability, Marlin had 10 HP by the time N sent out his final Pokemon, Clink. Thankfully, it went down to 1 dig, winning us the battle. Exiting the cave, we find ourselves in Mistralton City, where we are immediately greeted by the city's gym leader, Skyla. She tells us that our gym battle will have to wait, as she spotted a sick Pokemon on the top of Celestial Tower. That's exactly where I decided to go. Fun fact, on certain floors of the tower, pressing the B button makes every trainer turn. I've never seen this anywhere else in the game. Anyways, nothing special really happened in the tower. We just met up with Skyla, and she invited me to ring the bell at the top. I leveled up Marlin 2 more times afterwards by training with the Audino on Route 7, off to the Mistralton Gym. It's no secret that Pokemon gyms aren't that concerned about safety protocols, and Skyla's gym is no exception, with us having to shoot ourselves out of cannons and bang our heads on a wall. Either way, the trainers in the gym proved to be no match for us, and soon enough, our battle with Skyla began. Skyla started with Swoobat, who we took down in 1 hit thanks to her Psychic typing. Her next Pokemon, Unpheasant, went down in 2 easy hits. Skyla's last Pokemon is Swanna. Was it time for her to put us in our place? Not at all, we just killed her in 2 hits again. Probably the easiest gym so far. Exiting the gym, we had another little chit chat with N before healing at the Pokemon Center. And after that, I bolted to Twist Mountain, where Charon challenges us to another battle. Charon started with Unpheasant. I depleted half of his HP with Feint Attack, but Charon retaliated with Taunt. Unfortunately for Charon, the only move I have that isn't offensive is Agility, which I don't need to be using anytime soon. Wiping out Unpheasant next turn, Charon sent out Duat. I depleted more than half of his HP with Grass Knot, but the clever Otter hit us back with Revenge. To my surprise, it only got Marlin to yellow HP. We took it down the next turn, and then OHKO'd his Simisear with 1 dig. Lastly, I hit his Liepard with Dig, getting him down to red HP, but he healed with a Citrus Berry, which was good since Charon will no longer want to heal him manually. We were affected by Torment that turn, so we had to finish the battle off with another move. Liepard and Marlin were actually tied in speed at this point, so Liepard hit us with Assurance before we finished the job with 1 last Feint Attack. Victory belonged to us. It was time to head into Twist Mountain, and thanks to the power of Winter, we can ignore the bulk of it. We battled a worker and nabbed a hidden rare candy before meeting Charon at the end, who just finished battling Team Plasma. Exiting the mountain, we find ourselves in Icarus City. I bolted for the gym immediately. The gym trainers didn't give us much trouble, and thanks to some rocks in the last puzzle not having collision for some reason, we can skip a trainer. Soon enough, it was time to fight Brycen. Brycen starts with Vanillish. I hit him with a Feint Attack that gets him to red HP, and he uses Acid Armor before healing the next turn, where this time my Feint Attack didn't even get his HP to yellow. I reset immediately, knowing that I can get a way better start. Next attempt, I hit him with a Grass Knot, which to my surprise got him under half of his maximum HP. He tried to retaliate with Mirror Shot, but missed, allowing us to take him out next turn unscathed. Next, Brycen sent out Beartic. Once again, a Feint Attack got rid of over half of his maximum HP. He retaliates with Slash, which doesn't do much. What felt like a giant middle finger, the next Feint Attack only leaves him at red HP, and then Beartic influences Marlin with Swagger. Beartic gets healed, Marlin hits himself, things are looking grim. But we soon turn the tables as we utilize our raised attack to OHKO Brycen's Beartic, and then his Cryogonal. In a fun turn of events, the Freeze Badge is in our hands. Exiting the gym, we run into Team Plasma's Shadow Triad, who wants me to come to Dragon Spiral Tower. It was time for the next Team Plasma Gauntlet. As we fought our way through, it soon came time to finally get rid of Feint Attack, as Marlin was now ready to learn Night Daze, a special dark type attack with 85 power, 95 accuracy, and a chance of lowering the opponent's accuracy. Once we reached the top of the tower, it was discovered that N had befriended the legendary Pokemon Reshiram. N had a plan that would change the world, and we needed to find a way to stop it. In an effort to find the solution, I biked all the way back to Relic Castle on Route 4. Here, we hoped to find the Dark Stone, which would revive the legendary Pokemon Zekrom, praying that he would aid us. Team Plasma was already waiting, but the final gauntlet proved to be no match for Marlin, especially now that he had learned Night Days. Unfortunately, the Dark Stone was not there, but Professor Juniper reached out to us, letting us know that the Dark Stone was with Lenora. One trip to Nakreen later, the stone was safe with us. Time to get back on track with our journey. Opelucid City is where we will get our last gym badge. At the end of Route 8 was the entrance to Two Blind Bridge. Before we could enter, Bianca catches up to us and challenges us to one last battle. She starts with Stoutland. Night Days damaged her greatly, but her HP remained in the yellow zone, which was unfortunately ruined by the hail, causing Bianca to use a full restore. I used Grass Knot to damage her not as greatly, but still leave her in the yellow zone. In a staggering move, Bianca actually withdrew Stoutland and sent out Superior, who took my next Grass Knot to the face. Luckily, we took care of him with Night Days the next turn, and we also OHKO'd Bianca's Simipour with Grass Knot right after. It was Stoutland's turn to fight once again, but we took out swiftly with a Grass Knot. Bianca's final Pokemon, Musharona, soon learned that we had more power in Night Days than Feint Attack, as we finished the job and won our final battle with Bianca. Afterwards, I enjoyed some biking on Two Blind Bridge before listening to Ghetsis monologuing, laughed at two trainers who enjoyed double battles on Route 9, did some window shopping and battling in Shopping Mall 9, and finally arrived in Opelucid City, where we saw Team Plasma spreading more of their propaganda, just as they did in Accumula Town. After a quick chit-chat with Drayden and Iris, the two dragon experts of Opelucid City, I went straight to Route 10 for some more Autono grinding until we reached level 65. Now, it's time to challenge the gym. I was ready for a challenge. We were about to meet Pokemon we had never seen before, and sure enough, this gym challenge, not to be mistaken for the actual gym battle, proved to be the toughest one yet. It started off fine. We were able to crush through the onslaught of Fracture with Night Days, and the Dino weren't an issue either. But we ran into a veteran with a Druddigon that knew revenge, and it nearly killed Marlin. Another trainer that had a Druddigon made me learn the hard way that these fuckers had rough skin. As I made my way through the gym, pressing switches and fighting trainers, I realized I was running low on power points, and I had no way of getting back to the Pokemon Center. Eventually, a veteran named Kim challenged us to a battle when Night Days had 0 power points left. This kind lady decided to show me what a Fracture powered up with Dragon Dance looked like, so I reset and shifted my strategy. I started the fight with agility while Kim's Fracture used Dragon Dance. We repeated this for another turn. Marlin may be faster than the opponent by now, but a blow from Fracture could be fatal at this point. I then used Dig, and the enemy continued to use Dragon Dance while waiting for me to come out of the ground. By now, the enemy was on red HP, and we had both increased our speed by the same amount of stages, which meant that this Fracture's fate was sealed. Marlin burrowed into the ground. Fracture tried to hit us with Dragon Claw, but failed to catch up, and we took it out the next turn. Kim's next Fracture managed to hit Marlin with a Dragon Claw, but our speed was already too high that any setup from the opponent would prove futile. I knew that agility would be useful to have. We made it to Opelucid City's gym leader, but I used the teleporter behind her to exit the gym and heal at the Pokemon Center. After that, I traversed the gym once again to finally challenge her. Victory shall be mine, Iris! With our power points on Night Days refreshed once again, Marlin took out her first Pokemon, Fracture, in one fell swoop. To my surprise, her next Pokemon, Druddigon, also went down in one hit to Night Days, thanks to a critical hit. All that remained was her big and scary Haxorus. Night Days only brought her to red HP, and she spent her first turn using Dragon Dance. Thankfully, I had learned my lesson about red HP by now. I used Grass Knot on the turn Iris healed Haxorus with a Hyper Potion, and I took her out with Night Days on the next turn. The final badge was ours at long last. Ooh, for a Dragon-type gym, I wonder what kind of TM we get. Professor Juniper has a nice conversation with us once we exit the gym, and she was feeling so generous that she handed us a Master Ball. This will come in handy. As per usual, I healed at the Pokemon Center, and then went off to Route 10 to have our last battle with Charon. Charon's first Pokemon, Unpheasant, got OHKO'd with Night Days. Next, I hit his Samurott with Grass Knot, but failed to take him down in one hit, leaving him at red HP. He retaliated with Aqua Tail, which damaged Marlin a ton. I used Grass Knot again, and to my surprise, Charon didn't heal Samurott, so that was that out of the way. Next came Lightbird. who I was seriously contemplating my move usage on due to his dark typing. I decided to use Night Daze, depleting half of his HP. He was holding a citrus berry, but that wasn't going to matter. Lightbird retaliated with Taunt. We were actually tied in speed, so Lightbird squeezed in a slash before we finished him off with another Night Daze. This is honestly hilarious, because this is exactly how it went down the last time we fought Charon's Lightbird. Charon's last Pokemon, Simisear, went down in one hit to Dig. Hilda had won her last battle against Charon. The trainers on Victory Road hardly gave us trouble, and soon enough, I arrived at the Pokemon League. I stepped foot into the league with knowledge in my hand. 2 of the Elite Four had a significant disadvantage against me, but the other 2 were going to be very tough. I decided to go after the easier 2. Meet Caitlin, a sleepyhead Psychic-type trainer who you might recognize from the Sinnoh region. Her Pokemon are Reuniclus, Sigilyph, Gothitelle, and Musharuna. We smoked them all. The other one was Chantal, a ghost-type trainer who loves writing novels. Her Pokemon are Cofagrigus, Golurk, Chandelure, and Jellicent. None of them stood a chance. After that, I had 2 choices. I could fight Grimsley, the Dark-type trainer who not only had a favorite type that was the same as Marlin, but also a Scrafty that didn't fuck with Jump Kick. Or I could fight Marshall, the devastating fighting-type trainer who would be a nightmare for a Dark-type like Marlin. I chose Grimsley. Where do I even begin with this guy? Let's talk about his Scrafty. I learned that I could only take him out in 3 hits. Not only did he have moves to do considerable damage to us, but he also knew Sand Attack. While developing a strategy, I had to decide whether I was more comfortable with taking damage or losing accuracy. Now let's talk about his Bisharp. This motherfucker knew X-Scissor. Marlin's Dig was only good enough to get it to red HP too, meaning I had to kill it in 2 hits at my current level. These 2 Pokemon served as a wake-up call that I needed to keep leveling up. His other Pokemon didn't matter much at the moment. If I was ever lucky enough to actually get past Bisharp, I was usually too battered, bruised, and accuracy drained to go further. What followed was a somewhat tedious process. I would keep leveling up Marlin by fighting Chantal and Caitlin, but lose to Grimsley. As some of you might know, Pokemon get less friendly with you whenever they faint. So every time Marlin fainted, I would take him for a walk all the way to Icarus City, and then back to the Pokemon League. I repeated this process multiple times. Eventually, I reached level 81 before deciding to give Grimsley a fair fight again. My plan was to level up enough to be able to take down his Scrafty in 2 hits, but that never became a reality. On this attempt, I got my accuracy lowered with 1 Sand Attack, and a Brick Break got rid of nearly half of Marlin's HP, all before we took Scrafty down. Now, I may not have been strong enough to take down Scrafty in 2 hits, but I did get strong enough to take down Bisharp in 1, and more importantly, I was able to take more hits myself. My first dig sadly missed, and I got hit with an X-Scissor, leaving me at yellow HP, but I took him out on the next turn. Grimsley's next Pokemon, Krookodile, went down in 1 hit to Marlin's Grass Knot. Grimsley's last Pokemon was Lightbird. Lightbird stole our turn by hitting us with Fake Out, leaving us in red HP. The next turn, I depleted half of her HP with Dig, but she retaliated with Attract. Now, when I was initially breeding the Zorua, I double-checked Skyla's Pokemon to see if her Swoobat knew Attract, and she didn't, so I assumed Marlin's gender wouldn't matter. Lo and behold, I ended up suffering from it versus the Elite Four. I tried using Grass Knot, but Marlin was immobilized by Love, and he got hit with an Aerial Ace. Marlin had 4 hit points remaining, but thankfully enough, I landed a Grass Knot the next turn, and the battle was finished. Only one of the Elite Four remains. Marshall. Fighting type expert, martial artist, champion Alder's apprentice, and bringer of doom to dark type Pokemon. No turning back, let's see what he has to offer. Marshall's first Pokemon was Throw. His Bulldoze, while it doesn't do much damage, is very threatening due to its speed lowering property. He also knew Storm Throw, a devastating fighting type move that always results in a critical hit. This move depletes half of Marlin's HP. His second Pokemon, Conkeldurr, relied on Hammer Arm, a lethal fighting type move that Marlin couldn't survive. Despite this, the move is only 90% accurate. Marshall's third Pokemon, Mienshao, has an easy time outspeeding Marlin, especially after he takes a huge beating from Bulldoze. I have a plan. I equipped a Bright Powder I had picked up somewhere down the line. Holding this item would make it harder for the opponent to hit Marlin. On our successful attempt, I started by hitting Throw with a Grass Knot, depleting half of his HP. He retaliates with Bulldoze. On the next turn, Marlin uses Agility and gets hit with another Bulldoze. Marlin's speed has been stabilized. He takes Throw down with another Grass Knot, and Conkeldurr comes out. I hit him with Night Daze, which lowers his accuracy, and thanks to the help of the Bright Powder, he misses his Hammer Arm. I finish him off with another Night Daze. It's Mienshao's turn. As it turns out, Marlin was faster than him on base speed, and he used Dig before Mienshao attempted a jump kick and hurt himself severely. The Dig finished him off. We hadn't seen Marshall's final Pokemon until now, and that Pokemon was Sock. I depleted half of his HP with Night Daze, and he retaliates with Karate Chop, which does a concerning amount of damage. But Marlin survives regardless. Sock was defeated by another Night Daze. We had beaten the entirety of the Elite Four. If this were any other Pokemon game, by now you should be confronting the champion, challenging them to a battle. But here, we find that N beats us to it, and became the champion himself. All of a sudden, giant castle walls erupt from the ground and surround the Pokemon League. The battle of truths and ideals was about to begin. I stepped inside the castle. While I'm running through N's castle, I should tell you about something I did to prepare for the battle ahead. On my main save on my copy of Black 2, I had bred 5 Patrat eggs. While I was backtracking to find rare candies like I mentioned earlier, I took a break to trade these eggs over to the save I was doing this challenge on, and then I put the eggs in my PC immediately. I did this so I can have my party filled up for when we have to catch Zekrom. However, I didn't realize that an easier way to solve the Zekrom issue was to just catch him and then lose to N, so I could come back with only Zorua in my party. Oh well. Anyways, let's go over the second to last battle of the playthrough. It's time to fight N one last time. I think it's important to go over the first attempt of this fight, so let's see what happened. N starts with Reshiram. Marlin used Dig and burrowed his way into the ground, causing Reshiram to miss an attempted Fusion Flare. Once Marlin comes out of the ground and damages Reshiram, it only gets him to red HP. Reshiram then uses Reflect. N obviously uses a full restore on Reshiram the next turn, and I decided to use Night Daze this time, depleting half of Reshiram's HP, and then we finish him off in the next turn. N sends out Klinklang. I decided to use Dig, but it only leaves him with just above half HP remaining. That's when I learned that the Klinklang was actually a Zoroark in disguise. While I was left dumbfounded, Zoroark uses Focus Blast, deleting more than half of Marlin's HP. While some of it was healed from a citrus berry I gave to Marlin before the fight began, I decided to reset the fight with new plans I started formulating. Not only did I learn about the Zoroark, but strangely enough, Reshiram never used Reflect ever again. Looking back, I'm not sure if resetting on that first attempt was all that great of a decision. Regardless, we developed a new strategy and came out on top. It involved resetting until Zoroark missed the damn Focus Blast. Because for some unholy reason, even though I gave Marlin the Bright Powder and kept hitting Zoroark with Night Daze, that absolute rat hit 9 Focus Blasts in a row. I'm not kidding. Anyways, here's how the successful attempt went down. Marlin hit Reshiram with Dig, nearly taking him down. Reshiram tries to use Fusion Flare, but in a stroke of luck, Marlin avoids it. While N uses a full restore, I hit Reshiram with Night Daze and finished him off with another Dig. When N sends out Zoroark, I hit him with Night Daze and he finally misses the fucking Focus Blast, letting us finish him off with another Night Daze the next turn. Things are looking great. We haven't taken any damage at all so far. N then sends out the real Klinklang, who Marlin takes out in one hit with Dig. After Klinklang came Vanillux. It took 2 Night Dazes to take him down, and he only had time to set up Hail. Now Hail is going to be falling from the sky for the next few turns. N's next Pokemon is Caracosta. Marlin's Grass Knot did a heavy amount of damage to him, but his sturdy ability meant he was still standing. He retaliated with Stone Edge, which does an alarming amount of damage, and the Hail pushed Marlin into yellow HP. To my surprise, the Hail also affected Caracosta, and he was taken down as a result. N only had 1 Pokemon left, and that was Archeops. A grass knot gets rid of half of his HP, and what could have spelled certain doom was swiftly avoided as Marlin dodged a stone edge attempted by the enemy. We finish him off with another grass knot and win the battle of truths and ideals. As N ponders the journey thus far, Ghetsis comes in and throws out slander at his own son, revealing that he had manipulated N since his childhood and was actually seeking world domination. We're not going to let this slide. Regarding the Ghetsis battle, we only have one thing in our mind, and that's his Hydreigon. He knows Focus Blast. Hydreigon is able to withstand 3 Night Days attacks, and if things are particularly unlucky, it could be 4. I somehow got to Ghetsis' last Pokemon on my first attempt, but sadly, that didn't happen again until the last attempt. Ghetsis' first Pokemon, Cofagrigus, is trash, goes down in 1 hit to Night Days. Then came his Hydreigon. I kept hitting him with Night Days, his accuracy was lowering, and he was missing his Focus Blasts. Then, sadly, I missed the range and left him at red HP after 3 Night Days attacks. Naturally, Ghetsis used a full restore. All I could do was spam Night Days. Somehow, Hydreigon continued to miss Focus Blast, and I took him down. Ghetsis' next Pokemon was Bisharp, which thankfully died in 1 hit to Dig. Next up was his Bouffalant. He went down in 2 turns, but not before we took a head charge to the face, taking massive damage. Then came Seismitoad, which predictably went down in 1 hit to Grass Knot. Ghetsis' last Pokemon was Electros, the Pokemon with no weakness. I hit him with Grass Knot, and he retaliated with Wild Charge. Marlin had very little HP left, but the battle was already decided. I swiftly took out the Eelafish Pokemon with another Grass Knot, and the final battle went to us. While Charon and Alder took Ghetsis away, N made a declaration to find a new purpose with his new friend Reshiram. After encouraging us to pursue our own dreams and giving us one last farewell, the credits roll. We have beaten the entirety of Pokemon Black and White using only a Zorua. Hey guys, how's it going? This is Instafizz, and thank you so much for getting to the end of the video. If you're a new viewer, this last bit isn't as important to you as it is to my returning subscribers. I just want to say thank you guys so much for being patient with me. I was working on this video for months. In the time that I was pondering what I wanted to do for the future of my YouTube channel, I was always working on this in the background, and as I kept working on it, as the months passed by in absolute depression, as my friends encouraged me, I finally got myself back up, feeling like I used to feel. I'm done with my old style of content, I just didn't like it. But now, I want to work on something that I can enjoy as well, instead of only my audience enjoying my videos but not me. I have some really cool things planned for the future. So, what happens in the immediate future? Well, once this video goes up, I'm gonna start streaming some bingo for Pokemon Black and White. The next Bingo-thon was recently announced, and while the last 2 times I did Terraria, this time I want to do Pokemon Black and White. So I'm gonna be streaming practice for that. After that, I have a few fun video ideas planned. Make sure to follow me on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/InstafizzYT. I'll be streaming there a lot more often than I have already. And all of my videos from now on are going to be edited from my streams. And be sure to follow my Twitter, @Instafizz. There are some very important updates posted there, so I encourage you all to check it out. That's all from me. Once again, thank you guys so much for sticking with me. I'll see you all next time.